subscribe.
The Angry Ops Guy podcast, featuring Mike and Christina, pushing the ops machine forward no matter the grind. Real talk, real stories, and hard truths from two battle-tested pros.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Angry Ops Guy podcast. I'm Mike. That's Christina. We thought Christina had left the podcast for better pastures, but she has come back. So, Christina, me and Emily said last week that we thought you said, screw this, I'm out because we're not making any money. We don't have any people following us. We don't have any endorsements. We don't have any support. So why did you come back today? What do you want to talk about?
Well, I missed my weekly therapy sessions with my friend Mike, which I feel like again is a really nice, I don't know, make friends. I don't like it's like have people to talk to, like have friends that do what you do, that understand the life you live. I think like we were kind of touching on this before we hit record, but like politics in Canada is crazy right now, and like to have friends that are fellow business owners has been a saving grace. Like, has the ability to, and I'm going to be honest, some of these are clients, but like someone to relate to about like, I don't know, CRA, you are crazy, or oh my God, what is happening to your, like we just talked about, your funnel based on uncertainty in the market and whatever. So it's like, in all times, you need friends and you need people to talk to. But I think especially as our world seems a little bit crazy, scheduling time to commiserate or celebrate or do something with someone who is your equal and understands you and understands where you're coming from is like, I don't know, the most important advice I could give to someone.
I couldn't agree more, especially for the industry that we're in. Unless you're really in it, you really don't understand the nuances of ops or pressures or whatever it may be. So I completely agree with you. We like to call it therapy, but just to have somebody to understand the day's issues, pressures, and know that there is somebody that understands it and can collaborate on it, have an ear to listen. It's just so important. And you're certainly that to me. I want to shout out Denise Bowen at Blue Ocean Web ROI. She's another one. We have a regular cadence. And the same thing, we call it therapy of just like, how's ops going? Well, let me tell you about this week. And I think for the most part, I won't speak for Denise, but I'll speak for us here. It's like, we do feel better. Like, we say goodbye in about an hour from now, and I have an audio clip in your inbox before I get down the stairs, basically saying like, hey, I feel better. Thanks. And it's true because you get me. Or you'll say, Mike, I've got the same problem right now. And I don't feel like I'm in the corner, huddled in the fetal position, saying nobody understands. Because my wife, and again, Peter's in the industry, but Peter's not in ops.
Yeah.
They can only understand so much and they can only support so much. But like, I start going into technical jargon with Missy and she's like, okay, that's enough. Like, I don't get what you're talking about. And I'm like, okay, boop, 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 boop. Christina.
No, it's true. I think
It's Christina, you idiot.
No.
I don't know why that makes me laugh so much, but every time I see that clip of that Step Brothers part, I think of you. I don't know why.
Well, it's because that's how we are. Did we just become best friends? I feel like that's how like
Yep.
all started. It's all based on that.
So you mentioned how it's important to, allocate the time to collaborate and to have, therapy with like-minded individuals and so forth. So we're going to talk about a super exciting topic today that's really going to really spearhead this for the WSI network. Time tracking. We all hate it. Employees resent it. Most people don't understand it, but we're going to try to dig into it from an operational side to help other digital marketing agencies, other ops managers, or even employees understand the true value of why this is a non-negotiable, why this is so important from a data set to understanding things such as capacity of team members, capacity of departments, profitability of services or what you've sold. So would you like to get into this awesome, exciting topic with me, my friend?
I would. And I will just say this is how we originally, this is our origin story, Mike.
Oh, so how about you take over and tell us a quick little 3-minute origin story about how I just enamored you with saying, "Hi, Christina, I'm Mike from Ontario. You've never met me, but would you like to do some time tracking?" You're like, "Oh my God, that's my best friend. I'm going to be friends with you forever."
I'm trying to remember. It probably was a regional meet.
Canada Regionals 3 years ago, you and Peter presenting. You were the row ahead of me. When you're done, I'm like, "Yo, great presentation. By the way, have you heard of timebro.de? This is a really cool time tracking." And that's how me and you first met.
Time, bro.
Not even, "Hi, I'm Mike. I'm Christina. Wonderful to finally meet you." "Hi, I'm the ops guy, and I have time tracking module." And you're like, "Awesome. Go away, please." And why do you have 5 cookies in front of you when everybody said to take one?
You're like, I have none because of you.
C is for cookie. It's good enough for me. Cookie, cookie, cookie starts with C. I don't care. It's Thursday at 4 o'clock. I am what I am.
You are what you are. That's why we love you.
By the way, Cookie Monster is a son of a bitch, though. Like, like I believed in him when he said eating cookies was good as a child, and now I have weight problems. So thank you, Sesame Street.
I actually think now he also eats other things. Like cookies are his favorite, but like they've integrated like he's gonna like eat some celery.
Because I'm going to put off time tracking for another 2 minutes. Have you ever watched the movie with your kids, or because we're the similar age by a couple of years and we have the same things? Please tell me that you grew up and you watched Follow That Bird.
Oh, I don't know if I know this.
No, you have never watched the Sesame Street movie Follow the Bird when Big Bird gets kidnapped by the carnival and gets painted blue, and then all the Sesame Street characters revolt to go break him out?
I don't know about this.
Well, even though Sesame Street's for like 5 and under, I think your boys and you need to have a popcorn night because that was a movie growing up. And
Okay.
all I'm going to say to you, if you are enamored to find it, because I don't even know where to get it anymore.
Right.
But all I'll say is when they find Big Bird before the finale, Cookie Monster. That's all I'm going to say. Because he
Okay.
almost screws up the entire thing because he's Cookie Monster.
Poor Cookie Monster.
So, anyways, there's the first tidbit for the network. Follow that bird. We are in our late 30s, and I will still watch Sesame Street like I'm 5.
You know what? I I think kids shows have very valuable lessons.
Like
Ninja,
Looney Tunes. Looney Tunes to this day is still the greatest thing ever.
it's true. The new Ninjago. If you ever are looking for a children's, it's like Legos. It's like Lego guys. I'm a big fan of the Lego Batman movie.
Okay.
Like one of my top 10 movies. I know, but it is even before kids it was. Um, Ninjago, very good life lessons.
Okay, look, you're ruining our topic of time. Your time
I
efficiency
know,
is
I know.
terrible. Get back on time. Put your time tracking
Okay,
on and let's get on point.
my biggest, so I had started tracking time as soon as I got my first employee. One, because we're a virtual office, so to me it was like this automatic, you're not clocking in, and so I don't know what you're doing all day. This was before CIPR had the systems around a morning huddle, meetings, whatever. It's Peter and I and one other person, and so how are you keeping track of that whole piece? So Harvest is the tool we use internally. Still use it. We've brought it through all our years. But I was having, when we met, some real difficulties. It's so funny. Brad should pay us for this. Brad was struggling.
He comes up every goddamn episode. This man is going to make royalties off us. Stop talking about him. I got him out of your agency for a reason.
So he was really struggling tracking time. And it's funny, internally for us, we typically have like a few on the PR side and then a few on the marketing side. My marketing team members have never in the history of CIPR ever struggled with tracking their time. It's always in, it's always good. They are never people I need to chase on it. My PR people, I don't know if it's because PR people are like looking at squirrels more often or they can't get it done, but always on that component, I have struggled. And so I think you had maybe I think you did present, or maybe in my presentation I said, this is an area where I'm still struggling. I have a tool, but I don't know how to motivate.
Yeah, that your memory is very good. That's exactly what it was. It was your presentation about client onboarding and some of the nuances that CIPR does. That was, if I remember correctly, that's what you
Yeah.
presented. And I think whether somebody in the room at the Toronto Canada Regionals had asked about how you do time tracking, and you were just open and said, like, we do it this way, but I'm trying to find a better way to do it, which is less manually intensive or more reliable or whatever. And I remember something like that. And you were sitting in front of me. So when you came down, I'm like, perfect door opener. I have an automated tool because I'm a dork. And you're like, awesome. I'll look into that. And
I
just like
did.
my songs, just like other things I send you, you probably just skipped over it and said, there's another thing that I can bury in the archives.
No, we did. So I remember Brad used it. I
Did
had
he? Good.
Peter using it for a time, but let's just say Visionaries tracking time is a lost cause. There's your first lesson of the day, folks.
No, it is.
Your
Visionaries aren't tracking time.
visionary is not tracking time. They never will. Stop asking them.
Yeah, they're not wired that way to do so. So don't do it. But time. Look, maybe what we should talk about. Maybe we should talk about first is let's dig in quickly to like really why it's so pivotal and not the obvious. Because obviously time tracking shows you a lot, but I think people have to appreciate with context the value of it, right? Because everybody looks at it as a pain. It's a task. It's why are you making me accountable? Why are you spying on me? Why do you want to audit my stuff? Well, first off, we're auditing your work because we're paying you to work.
Yeah.
And that's, sorry everybody that's listening, but that's not Mike just wanting to be a dick. It's
No.
the truth. It's like we're paying you to work. So I want to see what you're working on to
Yeah.
understand how my clients are going. Are we getting the value of what we're paying you to do? And also understanding how to drive the business forward. And again, we've had a kind of a rolling theme here on early episodes about dropping nuances of EOS. And by the way, we got to get back to a full EOS episode because a lot of what we talk about here is
Yeah.
EOS. But EOS taught both of us that you don't make subjective or gut emotional feelings about decisions of hiring and of value and other things. You have to make data informed decisions. And if you don't have the right data, you're not going to be able to debunk emotions or make constructive things. And then, Christina goes in there and says, somebody says, oh, we're overloaded and I'm at capacity. And the first thing you say is, well, I want to protect my team. But then you go invest in another resource and then you realize that you didn't need to do it because actually that person or that department's inefficient and you just couldn't see it. And that's a scary thing as an ops manager, is to not be able to see. And I also just want to say on one more thing is, you mentioned about being fully remote. We're fully remote as well. It's even scarier now because now you don't even have the presence in the office to kind of poke around the corner and see how is my team doing. I hear a lot of chatter out of the marketing room. Is anything getting done? Now you may not talk to your team the entire day, other than a morning huddle or a check-in on MS Teams. So you actually have to depend on the time tracking in your CRM or your tool even more now to get a gauge of the productivity of your operation for that week and that month.
Yeah. No, it's true. I think I want you, I mean, I want you to dig into this more because I've learned much of my time tracking, I don't know, authoritarianism from you.
Really?
Yes,
I
you.
think I think I've shared like two tidbits with you. This has been this astronomically life-changing.
We had a whole call. We had a whole call on time because you showed me time, bro. But then we had a whole call on your process, and you did share with me in that call too about um, realizing when employees were like padding hours and conversations you had to have around this isn't about, oh, you've done an 8-hour day, good for you. It's about, I'm trying to get a realistic view
Yeah.
of how long things are taking. It's not about, yay, you did 8 hours, check mark. It's about like, we're looking about how tasks are completed, which inspired a, I guess, CIPR policy around, because this is what people ask. Oh, you're trying to see if I'm working 8 hours. Oh, you're trying, like, that's the default is, oh, you just want to see that I'm working. And it's like, no, actually, like, I want to see how long it's taking certain things to get done that we're contributing to, tier one clients more than
Yep.
there's more time there than in tier three. One of the biggest things I implemented was, okay, let's say you're over your 40 hours or you're over hours consistently a few weeks in a row. That's my warning sign that process has fallen down, that is something has taken too long. And that's
Yep.
when I start digging in and going, oh my God. And I have an example of a team member. She's not at CIPR anymore. She actually has a really cool marketing job now. Not that we don't have cool marketing jobs, but um I dug in and it was she was spending hours administratively on project management. Things that
Mhm.
shouldn't take you long, should be a quick 15-minute quick hit. Here you go, move along. But it allowed me as her boss to say, there is a gap in a skill set here. Let's share a screen, show me what you're doing, show me the mindset. Where are you spinning your wheels? And then I got to sit with her for a few weeks and figure out how to gain efficiency and get her to a place where she should be. And that piece. So again, for me, the flag is not about a hammer. It's about where have I fallen down from a training perspective, because I do, because you and I are running over capacity all the time. So like the teachable moments are sometimes not obvious.
Yeah.
For me, time tracking helps me see where I've missed sharing process.
It also goes to show patterns and inefficiencies in the operations department, even through the week. Like, if you're looking at time tracking, so people say not done, et cetera, whatever, and you're going, why? And then you go look at it going, why do we have all these internal meetings? What, we have an L10, we have a morning huddle, we have a production meeting. That should be enough for the week to kind of iron out what everything's being done. Why are we having more meetings and more meetings and more meetings? Or so, like, one thing that we identified recently is, and actually to the credit of some of our team members are saying, like, we got to streamline meetings when people are available versus just everything on demand, because the remote agency life and MS Teams or all these suites have turned into, hey, Christina, you there? And it's like, well, I'm knee deep in a proposal and I'm doing QA on the other screen and I'm trying to teach Emily something on the other screen, but sure, I'm available. And it's, I got a question. But now you've just railroaded what Christina was doing and she was doing five things. And that's same applicable to an employee, right? So got to figure out where time is wasted, because there's lots of time wasted on things that just don't need to be meetings, don't need to be conversations. Um, Having better discovery notes to give somebody a better understanding of what to do versus I need a call, because digital marketing or a lot of remote work now has turned into everything's a call, right? You send a client an email, you send an employee an email, we need to get on a call, we need to schedule a call. It's like, no, if the email's written correctly, it should have outlined everything we need, but that's what everybody's comfortable with now is let's get on the webcam, let's get on the webcam. But that's time inefficiency 101, unless it's really warranted. And let's be also honest, not one call goes the actual time you want it to in today's world. Like when you had boardrooms, it was like, we got to be out because Peter's coming in here at 2 o'clock and we're done. But now it's like, oh, Christina, I got some more time. Do you got some more time? And you're like, sure, because this next 2 hours is supposed to be my work time.
I
But
hate
and then
that.
all of a sudden now 44 more minutes goes by and you're like, what the hell just happened? I was supposed to be on a 30-minute call and I stayed on that call for an hour and 48 minutes, and now your whole day has changed.
Well, and I just like I would like to start a petition or but like obviously I am going to say sure, let's have fun. Like obvious, like you are but it's like stop. I feel like I would just like to put on a billboard somewhere that says, if you are now cutting into my perceived free time, you are cutting away from the work I have to do,
Yeah.
right? Like, it's like that's why what is on my desk right now? I have these notes that I took at a meeting on Tuesday. That meeting went long, and that meeting went long to the point that now I have not been able to, one, now give these notes to the right team member to implement, to get back to what they want to, because hey, that 30-minute window that I had open was to action the meeting. But the individual chose to go over time, and I also chose, I'm responsible to, I chose to say, sure, let's keep talking. Right? But it is a hard, I feel like that is the hardest thing. I've also tried to implement that like 50-minute meetings or like 45-minute meetings.
Yeah, need to give that little buffer that you have a little bit of wiggle room, but it doesn't roll over into the next hour or whatever. Yeah, it's smart.
But it's impossible.
Well,
Like, it just
well,
isn't.
with time tracking, you asked me, you want me to kind of take the lead, with time tracking, what I think is really important to kind of share to help with people, what we learned is what the mistakes I made, and I'm going to say I versus we, because again, I'm the leader in trying to put these things in place, was trying to be too firm with time tracking when we really had to implement it. You get paid 40 hours a week and I need to have 40 hours tracked. And it's, it's in reality, it makes sense. Show me, justify the hours, but that's not really the way the business day goes. People need breaks. There's going to be distractions. So it's not good to try to be finite with that. What you need to assess is how many hours do you expect your employees, or yourself, however you want to take this narrative of time tracking, and what do you deem as being a viable day? So for example, for us, it's okay, you have a lunch break. Ours is included, like we don't do non-paid or whatever, so it's just included a day. About 30 minutes is what everybody takes. So there's 30 minutes. And then we also said, okay, there's going to be bathroom breaks. Some people still smoke, this and that. So you're going to have those ins and outs. So you basically have an hour in your workday to have that variable, however you want it, because some people don't take lunch and what. But we said to them at the time, you need to give us 7 hours of trackable time, and then you need to split it between the billable and non-billable. Because what we want to understand with billable and non-billable is, what are we truly doing in the day? Because obviously every operations employee needs to have a higher percentage or an allocated percentage of billable time based on how many clients they handle, or if they're a department lead, how many clients you have. So you need to see, like, for example, that, 70-30, 80-20 split to make sure that your clients are actually getting the allocated hours necessary for the value of what they're being charged. And that will change with different departments and different people, but you try to find what's a viable average. I think 80% billable time as a mandate, it's pretentious. I wanted to get there. It's not a reality. Yeah. I think respectfully, something in the more of the realm of 75-25, 70-30 in the sense of billable, non-billable is more of a fair reality to try to strive for with time. It took us years to get there, of perseverance and trying to continue to twist the model. But set it, and don't set it high to start if you're not even doing this. Get the basics, get a time tracking tool. We're going to recommend a couple towards the end of this podcast. Get the time tracking doing, just get an average, because you probably don't know. So just track time to get a baseline to say, like, shit, we're like 55% billable time week over week. Because then you can start improving. And like you said earlier, is it a process problem? Is it a staff or inefficiency problem? Did Christina not able to spend time with her lieutenants to give them time for mentorship and training to help them be better with certain things that maybe they're not as qualified on, and you're more intermediate? So you've got to figure out those metrics. And again, the data is the key piece. So everybody's, this is a major undertaking. Just get a tool and start tracking, and don't be demoralized about what you're tracking, because data is power and you can always improve it. That's the first, that's a major takeaway that I've learned. And please, you're kind to say, oh, I've learned so much from it. We're not perfect with time tracking. We've still got issues with time. It's always an issue. So that's another kind of duh moment here, is there is not a perfect science to this. But if you are time tracking, you're already better than other agencies that aren't or are ignorant to it. Oh, we've never been able to figure it out. Oh, our team doesn't want to do it. I'm sorry. This is when Mike puts his, it's non-negotiable.
Yeah.
Because I cannot run a data-centric business and strive towards improving net profitability and sustainability for the agency if I don't have that data for the largest area of cost, which is the people that you're paying to do work, to understand, are we actually doing it correctly, or are we not making any money at the end of the year, at the end of the day? And it starts there. So you must be tracking it. You want to be successful. It doesn't matter if you're a 10-person agency or a 1-person agency. You've got to track your time to understand where things are going.
Yeah. No, it's true. I mean, back to your billable, non-billable, I think that's huge. I mean, for me, the lesson there has been to the ability to maybe, I don't know, promote or find your managers or find your next level. So for me, that I think, especially as Karen was kind of coming up the ranks, there was this big realization for me. Well, your time is now going to be not as billable because now you have people reporting to you, which is a win for me because there's less people reporting to me. Or I'm expecting you to deal with certain supplier relationships, or I'm expecting you to, I don't know, do a little more paperwork or whatever it is. So again, understanding the split based on level. Internally, we call them like the doers. The doers
Yep.
should be,
Yep.
again, I think 80 is lofty, but that's also where I strive. Like, it's like that 70 to 80. It's like, my doer, you are here to do. You are here to
That's a
get her
good point.
done.
Because yeah, you're looking at that doer and they got 57% billable time in a calendar week of work, and you're going, something's wrong here. And what's diluting your attention or time towards getting that towards 75%, which would be acceptable if you are a doer and a client facing manager or leader of any capacity. You have to have those people working at that level, because that's what the agency actually needs.
Yeah.
Because again, we have lots of moving pieces, lots of things. And also us as ops managers, and in your sense, an agency owner, you cannot set your customer facing pricing. You cannot set your hourly operating cost. Time tracking plays a huge part in those calculations. What are the margins you want on an SEO package? What are you going to price your management fees for PPC or PR or whatever? It comes from looking at historical time tracking to understand, okay, Emily's working on this PR opportunity, and okay, Peter sold it for this. Now Emily's done that. That's not a lot of margin. Hey, Peter, we can't sell it like this anymore. And you have to be able to pivot as fast to that, because if something's not making you money, then don't be selling it for a year or 5 years just for the greater good of the customer. This game is about making money.
Yeah.
So we have to be efficient, but efficiency is not everything, because that's what staff don't want to hear. Oh, you want me more efficient, more efficient. So you have to paint the right narrative between efficiencies internally, but understanding that you've set them up for success as well. And when I say them, I'm talking your employees or your staff. Is we price this correctly. We factor content manager. Oh, okay, this is a bold level SEO client getting 2,500 words a month of content. We're giving you 3 to 4 hours a month to work on that. The next tier package is 6 to 7 hours. And then you can build it in so that they have guidance as to what to do, versus the Wild West of just saying, I'm going to do whatever I want for however long I need to, and then it's not my problem as long as it's done. We have to put these things in place. You call them processes, I call them rules, whatever, but it's employees work so much better when they see that the foundation is laid and those things are around them. It actually makes their job easier, versus, hey, nice job, but we're not profitable and we're not efficient and it's your fault. And then you're going like, thanks, asshole ops manager. You don't know how hard it is in my role and so forth. So again, you can't make those constructive improvements and policies and processes for your ops department if you don't have that data. And I want to say something important that's just on my head. I talked about hourly operating cost. I rebuilt our model completely in the last 2 years. And I did it with our accountant and our bookkeeper. So
Yeah.
I really got it from the accounting side, and it's robust, but I'm so proud of it because it breaks down, but one thing it factors is it says, okay, as you know, how many vacation days, how many hours that people are
Oh,
going to
wow.
work and so on. And then you got to pull the billable time tracking, and then you got to see the split, because the amount of billable time, for example, for 6 months or a year of X employee, then gets factored into how many billable hours they have to contribute. And then that's factored into the formula for getting the true hourly operating cost. And then the next piece is people that don't contribute to billable outcome, you don't factor them into the hourly operating cost because they don't contribute to the billable revenue. So my point being is you need that, because you could be sitting there saying, okay, my hourly rate is $100 an hour, but your operating cost is $128 an hour.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how much lost profit is on the table if those numbers aren't right.
Yeah.
And you have to be looking at them every year, every 6 months, to make sure that the ebbs and flows of how the business is going um, supports what the data is showing coming out of your P&L, coming out of your CRM and everything else. So, again, you're doing yourself a disservice by guesstimating, oh, Christina's about 5 hours a month. That's not the way to do it in today's world. Data, data, data. And if the data will tell you the story, and look, I was not a data man growing up. I am stupid as shit with math. I was never smart with that stuff, but my whole life is data now.
Yeah.
And one thing I will say proudly is data is black and white, and black data will never argue back on you. And it really it allows so much less friction with employees and ownership when you're having data centric conversations about the business, good, bad, or indifferent, because there's no arguing data. I'm sorry, there's not.
Well, and even on the client side, right? I think actually, shout out to Ryan Kelly, because this is a Ryan Kelly-ism. But like I remember he talked about don't do it based on a feeling, do it based on data. And that was kind of him and Cynthia's overhaul of data in their agency,
Yep.
because he'd come to the table like any visionary does and go, it feels like we've been working too hard on this, or it feels like we've been giving this client a lot of time.
Yep.
And now, I mean, I had a client just recently where, man, it felt like we were giving them a lot of time. And then the data showed we were giving them way too much time.
Yep.
And then the data showed me before that a client at this level, at this tier, with this amount of work should typically be 25 hours in a month. This client got 50 hours in a month. And now I was able to go to that client and say, hey, we need to clean up our process with you. You can't send us 1 million emails every day. You
Yep.
can't, we have to cut down, to your point earlier in the conversation, we have to cut down on meetings. We
Yep.
have to get back to kind of the roots of what we want to build. And
Or you have to pay us more to allocate the time. It's such a good point. It's funny, this is why we're best friends. Um, is I was going to go there with my next piece about the client side, because we've had to actually terminate a few clients for exactly that. Like, hi, or adjust packages is probably the more natural way to do it. But hi, we've looked at our time tracking month over month, and we are investing way too much time. It is not proportionate to the package level that you're investing in us. So if you'd like this type of care at the same level, then we're going to have to move to the next tier of package, and then we're fine. Or we back down. And why I brought that up is not to repeat you, but what's important is what the end customer will typically say is, well, show me the time tracking.
totally.
And Christina or Mike's got to be like, no problem, John Smith. Here it is. And if you can turn that around and you see it, a CSV file with 500 line items of Emily and Mike and Karen and Christina and Peter and whatever, and it's like, understood, Christina, what's our options moving forward? You don't want to get into subjectivity, because what's a client going to do? Oh, you don't value my money? I'm too difficult for you? No, the reality is we track all of this, and it actually ends up impressing them, and then it's a yes or no. Christina, I'm sorry, we'll make some amendments together, and let's stay on the package we're on. Thank you very much. Or Christina, we do want this type of service from you guys. We didn't know we were over. So what is the difference between going from package A to package B? That's a wonderful conversation to have with a customer, because that's the partnership
Yeah.
And they will not argue because it's not, well, Christina's had a bad day today and she's just pissed off at John.
Well, and it's true. It gives you the leg to stand on. I mean, I have been with a client where
That's
I've
the right
shared,
word, leg to stand on. Well said.
like I've given that's it. I can retire now. But
Bye.
I have been in a meeting with a client where I've shared the screen, brought up the I want to see the hours. And it's like, okay, here you go. Pulled up Harvest, here you go, downloaded the CSV file there. And I've had clients go, holy shit, this is slick. Could you also just tell me about operations and how I'd love to have this level of detail in my, so it's like
Yep.
you are creating trust, you're whatever, but it's also like, we kill what we eat. We're always looking for the upsell. Time tracking makes the upsell real easy.
And you want to dumb it down even further. Time tracking ensures selling maintenance packages or maintenance hours are almost automatic.
Yeah.
Hi, client. Your 20 hours are up. Really, Lenny? Where did the hours go? Here's your time tracking. Oh, okay, Lenny. What do we do now? Want to buy another 20? Please do. Reload us. That's what small business needs. Is, to your point, is way harder to get new clients that have no trust with you versus those ones that are invested already with you, trust you, and it's a matter of just continuing to provide more service, which means, I don't want to say easier money, but it's easier money to find because the relationship's already there. And
Yeah.
as long as you're providing value, it's a non-negotiable. And then they don't even ask the price. They just say, Christina, another 50 hours, dear, please. Thank you, John. And you're rocking and rolling. And that's when digital marketing can be fun, is when you take the price discussion completely out of it. And you don't have to justify why X cost Y.
Yeah, it's true. Okay, tools. What tools do you use? Final plug for.
So I'm going to share just a couple quickly, and I'll be quick, but we have tried a bunch. Oh, again, we're doing this a long time. So we started with the original Basecamp CRM way back when they had the built-in time tracking. That was okay, manual. When Basecamp kind of evolved to Basecamp 2, they got rid of time tracking for a period, which screwed all us up. Shout out to Chris Murray and Lori McCullough out of WSI Montreal. Got me invested in Toggle. Toggl. Toggle's a really good time tracking tool that can go bake itself into a lot of CRMs or like Teamwork and so forth. The one that we were talking about when me and Christina met, and I thought this was my best play at friendship. That one used to that one used to, good thing you found Peter Pilarski in another life, because I would have came with you that pickup line. Wah, wah. Hey, I got some time tracking. What are you doing later?
Here's a time bro.
It used to be called, the one we were talking about was Time Bro. It used to be called Time Bro. It's been rebranded in the last couple years. It's called now MemTime. So memtime.com is what it is. And why I'm emphatic about this and why I showed Christine at the time was, this is a widget that you can purchase. It installs on your desktop, and it's almost like keystroke capturing, but in the sense of time. So you can sit there, and Christina's bouncing around emails on this screen and browsers on that screen, and it captures everything you do in the day. And then what you can do is you can connect it to your CRM like a Teamwork, like a Basecamp. You can select the options that are viable for billable tasks. And then what happens from there is you can just push all of it to Teamwork. So no manual entries, no writing things down, leveraging technology to do it for us. And right now, in fairness, we're just using time tracking out of Teamwork because the team prefers that way. But I'm really thinking that at MemTime or something competitive like that is where we're going, because we can't afford people to be thinking about, what did I do this morning at 9 a.m. This MemTime program, it will capture everything that you're doing through the day. I'm checking emails, I'm doing this, I'm doing, and then you can go select which items you say, yeah, I was working for clients today and this is time tracked. You don't have to sit there and worry about, did I spend 2 hours or an hour or whatever. It captures to the second. You select which options for the day, and you simply say, these are where it goes in my client list. It syncs with your tasks. Push. So you can push 20 time tracking pieces directly into your Teamwork with a push of a button. Why would you want to write it down on a piece of paper and get, because going back to, that's when we're getting, I think I worked an hour and a half on this and that. We need to know what you actually, it's not about the 8 hours. It's, did you work on John Smith Contractor's website? Did you work on it for an hour? Did you work on it for 2 hours and 6 minutes? Because that's the difference in an hour of billable time, whether it's being deducted from the project cost or what you have to bill out if you're an hours kind of agency. So mem time is a great one, in my opinion. And then lastly, we're back on teamwork. So we've been on teamwork for over 5-7 years, and we're just using the built-in time tracking, and it works for our team. But in closing, from my side on the time tracking, what was important for our team was the discipline and the accountability through L10 meetings, tracking it as a metric, making sure that managers were reinforcing that why is your time tracking show 0 for last week, and making sure it's done, or unfortunately having to say people, strike one, strike two, you got to pull up your pants. And then, like anything, it becomes a discipline, and then people understand, and it gets kind of hardwired to do it. But it takes years and perseverance. So start small, and progressively put your foot down, because it is vital for your business's success and sustainability. And that's what I want to share from my side as I kind of wrap up tools.
Yeah, I mean, so Time Bro, Mem Time, which it is now. I don't like the rebrand, but I guess they were feeling they left out the sisses, the bros and the sister. Anyways,
By the way, shout out to the women of WSI. Just saying. Yeah, Christina is putting her hand up like everybody can see her because we're live streaming. But
Mike loves the women of WSI. What I will say
no,
with the Mem Time is, I like bringing it in periodically.
okay,
Like a good check. It's a good, teaser to another episode of QA. It's a little quality assurance of the hours that are going in. So if there is someone on my team that I have flagged that, we can't really understand why, there's maybe a capacity issue, it's a great tool to bring in to say, this is going to help us understand where you're spending your time. And I've never had pushback. I've always had people go, oh, this makes sense. This is helping me, be a little less squirrely, or okay, I'm a little bit more sensitive to the fact that, yeah, I did mess around on this thing for a long time. So I like it from a every so often, or I call it my, like, if there's a chronic issue, now all of a sudden, like, you have to be on this. You have to implement this tool into your day for a time, because you're not hitting there. The other piece I will say is get someone internally that is a staff person to help you train on timesheets and how to submit time, because they are going to come at it as a colleague. So back to the original thing we talked about, find a friend. They're going to talk to them as a colleague. They're going to know where that individual is at. Shout out to Emily. She is my go-to internally when someone is struggling with their timesheets. Emily is a rock star at her timesheet. I
nice.
send them to Emily, and she is able to say, here's what I do. Here's my strategies. And again, it's a person to person rather than boss being like, I need your timesheet in.
Yeah, it's a friend versus the boss. This is how we do time tracking, which nobody wants to hear. It's,
Oh,
this is how I do it, and yeah.
yeah.
Well said. But also, you have to have process. You have to have You're big on this. You have to have documentation. So this is how we do it, not how you do it, because it has to be consistent and how you look at it.
Yeah.
By the way, what was the tool that you mentioned kind of since inception? You made Harvest?
Harvest. So I like that one. We use Asana internally, so it integrates with Asana. It
Nice.
also integrates with your calendar. So
Oh,
just pulls your calendar events in, which is a great from a meeting perspective. It's also a
nice.
little bit of a hack so we have Juan internally who is just a tremendous little time blocker, time blocks everything in his calendar. And so for him, real easy, because he sticks to his time blocking in his calendar. Now it's integrated into Harvest. So he has
That's
nothing,
cool. That's
right?
cool.
So again, I've really liked Harvest, and it again integrates with lots of stuff. It's a robust tool. We do all our invoicing through Harvest as well,
Oh,
because again,
nice.
it ties in hours.
Mhm.
So now I can tie in invoicing. It hits me up, hey, you need a new hour bank here, or hey, you're a little over here. I like it from a tool perspective. If someone is looking for something that's well-rounded from an operational perspective, that's the tool. I like it.
So we said so tools to explore for people that are listening about, tips to improve time tracking or to get started, or Harvest is a good option to explore. Toggle, Basecamp, and Teamwork have native time tracking integrations if you're looking for like a full scale CRM. And then also the Memtime is another option, and those are all ones that will get you kind of off on the right track to getting the data that's going to tell you what's going right and what's going wrong. And I'd like to kind of end with a quick 1 minute story, which kind of solidifies the importance of time tracking. So, as a lot of people know, because I've been in WSI almost 16 years, used to be a project manager for a long time, and always had a vast amount of work, and obviously Peter's right hand lieutenant, and he would drop more and more projects on me as he would sell and get on runs just like your Peter. And burned out Mike, late at night when it goes in his office, I can't keep up, like, you're killing me. And Peter looked at me with that kind of smile and he said, Mike, I'll get you anything you need if you're in trouble, but I need to see your time tracking. And Mike, well, I don't time track. I don't freaking time track. He says, well, what case do you have to come cry to me about being over capacity if I can't see where your time is? And reason I share that as maybe a conclusion is not to say bravo, Peter, whatever, but the learning for me at that time of my life and my age and my maturity was, you have to have data to have a constructive conversation for something you want or need. And Peter was smart at the time, saying, like, I can see that you're upset. I can see that you're overwhelmed, but it's not healthy for the business for me to just pivot and dump X amount of money in another developer or another body just because you're having a bad week or a bad day. Show me the last 3 months and if the argument's there, and so forth. So that was a big learning lesson for me that I could then take and try to polish in my own way for our team members of what the importance is, because now I follow the same thing. Well, I'm overwhelmed. Show me your time. Well, you've got 20 hours tracked in the last 6 weeks. I don't even know why we're having this conversation. And I'm sorry, until you tighten your operations, I can't go to bat for you and ask for more funding, more staff, more resources, because small agencies cannot just spend. We have to be proportionate in cost to what truly the size we are. And we have to maximize the people that we have before we can just grow again. Because having 10, 12, 15 bodies in the agency isn't the way we run anymore. We run lean and mean. We have suppliers and production centers, but people have to be maximized to their potential. And time tracking is the first step to understanding that.
Well, and I feel like if you're getting the pushback from a team member that time tracking is taking me too long, then they are taking too long. Time tracking should not take you a long time. So it's either the tool is not working and you need to figure that out, the training isn't there, or they're spending too much time, right? Like, it shouldn't be an hour at the end of the day to think back. Like, there is something, if someone is saying it is taking me too long or I don't have time to track my time, you need a process, you need a system, you need to simplify what you're asking them to do, because it should not be this big headache.
It doesn't need to be a big headache. Find the right tool, build the right simplified process, get the right people to train the other employees to get on board, and make sure that you're looking at it every week so that you're not having an oh shit moment 4 6 weeks in trying to understand what's going on. And maybe we'll do a subtle part 2 on this another time, because there's so much more to share about time tracking, and we can go much deeper into really how to leverage some tools further to really spearhead operations. But another time and another day. Well, lady, I wish I had 3 more hours with you, but I don't. So thank you for your time today. And as always, did we solve anything?
Not yet. Nope.
Okay, well, I guess I'll see you next week.
Good luck, buddy.
This angry ops guy just needs to unplug.
Here we go again.
Hey Mike, Angry Ops guy, why are you so mad all the time? You just need to chill. Chill!